Welcome to the England Rugby Pod. Thanks for downloading episode 83. With the Premiership final decided and changes at the top, England face the Babbas at Twickenham on Sunday. You're listening to the England Rugby Pod, the rugby podcast that believes England will win the World Cup in 2019. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm joined as always by Dan. Hi mate.
Hello buddy, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Just need to bang this one out because I'm off on holiday. It's my turn.
Off on the hollybobs.
Hollybobs, yeah, exactly. So well deserved, well earned, in my opinion. Probably not in anyone else's break. So only not going too far afield. Just to France, down to the wine regions. Try a few nice reds down in Bordeaux. But obviously before all of that we've got quite a bit actually to talk about. I think we've obviously just had the semi-finals. We know who we're expecting to see in the finals. There's been an announcement regarding the England squad to face the Babbas on Saturday, and obviously there's been a bit of Sunday even. Yeah, you're right. And obviously there's been some changes that we're going to talk about in the coaching department where England are concerned, and some injury issues that we need to discuss. So yeah, lots to talk about today. So I reckon let's start with the semi-finals. That seems like the right place to start, and then we can move on to the England stuff afterwards. Sorry, mate. I was going to say the semis would be AU really. I mean, Saracens and Exeter just proved how much they're a class above everyone else. I think. Yeah, I mean, Exeter. Scorelines would suggest that Exeter had a pretty easy run. 36-5 against Newcastle. It's didn't seem to present them with too many problems. I didn't see it, but the Sarries game, you watched it, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
57-33, that strikes me as a pretty interesting game, or was that like a sort of late comeback?
No, it was interesting, but the reality is Wasps were never really in it. Right. There was maybe a point where you thought, oh, hello, because they've got within 10 points.
Right, okay.
But
Saracens
absolutely dominated. Up front, they were incredible. Now, I don't know whether to be massively excited about this or annoyed. I mean, the England Saracens players were awesome. Mako was absolutely brilliant. Atoje is one of the best matches I've seen him have. He was back to his old whoop self when things were going well. They just looked so energized, so up for it, so loving their rugby, which you haven't seen them in an England top do that for a while. But
I mean, I guess this is where we're hoping that from an England perspective, recent results have present them with that opportunity to get the kick up the backside and kind of turn things around. And obviously that's what this tour is going to be all about, is seeing whether or not that is the case. It's kind of mixed opinions, isn't it? Some people saying, England, particularly outside of England, people saying that England have never been as good as their results suggest. But I don't believe you can get that kind of string of results if you're not good enough. Quite aside from the fact that we obviously rate England anyway. I think this is just I think they were tired, and they've particularly with the guys, the Sarries guys, the Exeter guys. Their club rugby is so kind of it's the best in the world, and so it's sort of I guess in some for someone like a Ben Teo, for example, he's playing at Worcester. Worcester's not doing particularly well. His highlights are always going to be what he does in an England shirt. And as much as you'd like that to be the case for all players, if you're an Exeter, if you're a Sarries, and if there's trophies and things to be won, there's silverware on available to you, realistically throughout the season, then that's also going to be up there, isn't it? So maybe some of them just lost a little bit of that drive in an England shirt. I don't know, but what we want to see is obviously some turnaround in the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks while they head over to SA.
Yeah, I think so, because they were looking good. I mean, the Saracens forwards just looked so dominant. I mean, I haven't seen a forward display like that for ages. Billy, a great 40 minutes. He had a good half. He's Billy. He's looking like Billy. when he comes back from injury, you kind of expect it'll take him a couple of games to get into it.
Yeah.
Not at all. There he is.
Bang,
I mean, he wasn't.
He was like that actually last time, wasn't he? I remember him coming back his first
Yeah.
game back last time, and he was just smashing people all over the place. And unfortunately, he only managed a couple of games before he got injured again. So I guess it's just we need to just keep everything crossed that this time he can plough through both players and any kind of I guess any weakness that he has in those kind of early stages post recovery, and just hope that he's back to full fitness and can do what Billy does.
But I got to say, Mako did look like the better brother on Saturday. He had an absolute stormer. He was an absolute beast.
I mean, that's brilliant for England, isn't it? Because I guess in recent months there's been question marks over whether Mako is the starter or the finisher, and I've always kind of felt like he's the main man. But it sounds like he's cementing that place as both the first choice and probably becoming more and more of a leader all the time as well. The experience that he has playing, with Sarries, and obviously I don't know how many caps he's got for England now, but he's climbing. He's been around a while now. He's got obviously Lions caps on 2 Lions tours, so he's got to be one of the most senior guys in the squad. One of the more senior guys, rather.
Yeah, definitely. I would have thought so. It's hard to figure Mako out. I mean, anyway, however he is, he comes across as a really good guy. But it's hard to figure out whether he's the shy, retiring type, whether he's a bit more vocal. I just can't really tell. Normally, like you can tell the character of someone, like
I think
Haskell.
I think the problem with the Vunipolas is that Billy is so vocal and so much the sort of centre of attention, but in a kind of in quite a kind of appealing way. Like he doesn't come across like a knob.
Completely.
He just comes across like the sort of guy you want to go down the pub and have a pint with. And Mako seems like the much more sensible older brother, and so I guess it kind of seems perhaps like he's a bit shy and retiring, but I guess it's not about that. It's about and he can be that. It's about what they do on the pitch. So he's clearly getting things right, isn't he?
Oh mate, he was unbelievable. And yeah, in fairness, you're right. Billy's just very honest and open, and while he's chatting, Mako's clearly stealing his KFC and just walking that down. So I think that's probably how it works. But no, Mako was unbelievable. Owen Farrell had an incredible game, 27 points.
Nice, always good.
Played well. Lazowski looked absolutely brilliant. He certainly did himself some massive favours from an England perspective.
Oh, well, because he's involved, I think, on Sunday. No, of course he won't be. What am I talking about? But is he part of the tour?
Yeah, he's going to South Africa.
He's going, okay.
And he potentially has put himself in the starting place. I mean, he looked really good
at 13.
At 13, yeah. And I know it doesn't sit that right with me, mate, but it worked.
Interesting.
But I mean, it's hard to say because Saracens was so dominant up front. They had so much front football that when you've got that.
Yeah, well, we've said this about England, haven't we? We've talked at length about the fact that if they've got front football, what the backs can do is incredible. And as you rightly point out every time I bring it up, but what happens when you don't have front football? And I guess that's the problem. You go down to South Africa, physical side. If they can put any pressure on it, and we've seen it when things don't go to plan. If you've banked everything on the ability to have quick front football and it doesn't come, and you're stuffed. And I think it's times like that where you really need someone who can punch holes. And it doesn't feel like if we went with a lineup like that, I don't think we'd have that. But this is where Billy comes in because he can single-handedly, turn things around. He punches holes like I don't think anyone else does.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to watch the Saracens Exeter game. I think will be absolutely brilliant. I don't think the game itself will necessarily be a classic, but I just think watching it, seeing those battles, will be really like a true rugby.
Yeah, true rugby fans. Yeah.
And that I just think it's going to be because Exeter just basically suffocated Newcastle. Newcastle. Newcastle actually looked like some bottom of the table team, to be honest, because Exeter just gave them no ball. They just didn't let them have the ball. Exeter are just brilliant at doing that.
I mean, this is what
Saracens
England need to
won't
do,
let
but
them do
that's what England need to do to oppositions, isn't it?
I think so.
And
who would
again,
be a good person
I was
to do
going to
that? Don
say,
Armand.
yeah, it brings that. I mean, well, it's an interesting time to bring that up, actually. I know we do it pretty much every week, but we're going to do it again. And the main reason being that Jack Willis, obviously, did his knee, ACL. So he's out. I mean, they're saying could be as much as 12 months. It's really quite a nasty injury. To two things. One, does that mean Don Armand gets called up? I mean, I think we would both call him up. Do we think that's going to happen?
I don't know. To me, it's ridiculous. He's not there. I just don't know. Firstly, on Jack Willis, I mean that's sad, but actually, he's so young. But hopefully,
he'll bounce back.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I think he'll bounce back, and he's had such a good season. He's a quality player.
Yeah.
So
he will bounce back.
Well,
just the Don Armand debate is probably not worth having. Everyone who listens, everyone who doesn't listen, even knows that we all as fans are kind of scratching our heads as to why he's not involved. We just have to wait and see what happens there. But we hope he gets the call up, right?
Yeah, for sure, mate. I can't. I know we're saying in Eddie we trust, and yeah, of course, but it is insane he's not there. There is something we don't know about. There
has to be.
Is.
There has to be. I mean, maybe this is where the coaching staff, when we have a more structured coaching setup, there'll be people saying, hang on a second, I'm in charge of attack or defence or whatever it is. I need this guy. And maybe we'll see that have an impact. But just before we move on to that kind of those other areas, they were playing on an artificial pitch. Is there an argument to say that this is part of the problem? I mean, I know these pitches are designed to kind of mimic the real thing, but obviously you don't tear through them. So in his case, his studs got stuck in the ground, and of course it's artificial. The ground's not going anywhere. So his knee, it was only his knee was the bit that had to give.
Mate, I don't know, and a lot's been made of this.
I've never played on one, so I don't know.
Full season.
Yeah.
And not much. I honestly don't know is the answer. I think the injuries, rugby's a physical game. Injuries can come from anywhere, right? I don't think the pitch is to blame for his injury. No, I think it was just an unfortunate.
And you don't have to be a professional rugby player to do an ACL. We know enough people who have done it. So it's kind of just that particularly bad injury, isn't it? That when it happens, it's a long-term break from any exercise. I mean, it's another one that we'll definitely have to get the pod doc on to talk about because knees are his speciality. So he'll be able to tell us all about that. So we'll get into that with him at some point. But yeah, it's a shame for Jack Willis. We talked about how it was going to be interesting to see him get his England shot. It's not going to happen this summer. But yeah, it leaves the door open for somebody. And I guess we wait to see who that somebody is.
There's just part of me that thinks it won't be Don Armand.
I don't think it will either. I mean, apart from anything else, Don Armand's involved on Sunday, on Saturday, or for the finals. But looking at if we then move on to the Babbas squad, you look at some of the names that are in there. And you're thinking there are guys involved in that who aren't going to South Africa who could. So it's which way is he going to go? Because the other thing I find very interesting is that Eddie Jones has said that who's the back row? Sam Simmons. Eddie Jones has said Sam Simmons is a number 8, and I don't agree.
It's so weird because Eddie changes all the time. Because earlier in the season he was saying he wasn't a number 8. He was saying he was too small.
I really hope he's not looking at him as a number 8. I really want to see him, at 6, because I just think if a back row of him, Billy,
Ryan Brad Shields.
Brad Shields. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't know if that's going to happen because we know that he loves a bit of Chris Robshaw. But how nice, how incredible a back row would that be?
Yeah, I agree, and I think Sam Simmons has been absolutely epic this season. So just quickly to backtrack a bit, this Babbas match, I can't tell every year whether this is brilliant or absolutely fucking stupid, because the reality is you miss all the players from a Premiership final. So whoever that's going to be, inevitably there's going to be a fairly large England contingent.
Yeah.
However, on the other side, it gives other people a chance. I really hope Woodward gets a game. I really hope Trinder gets a game. But are you also potentially looking at, you know, injuries? Like we were saying, injuries can happen. I mean, mate, you know what an absolute machine I am. But I put my neck out the other day when I sneezed. So, you know, these guys may...
A weapon.
These guys get a bit hurty. Oh, mate, an absolute weapon. I think a lot of people say tool, but...
but you think that's a compliment.
Of
anyway, you know, I hear what you're saying. I think the risk of injury element for me is less of a concern. I think that's just that happens. I don't think you want to say we don't want to play a game in case someone gets injured, because you players need to practice. But I mean, a great example here. So you've got, I'm looking at the England squad to face the Babbas, and he might well be on the bench, or he may not even be part of the 23. But you've got Joe Launchbury. Now, obviously, Joe Launchbury played. You know, he's going to be a vital part of the England team in South Africa with Laws and who else is injured? Who's our other second?
Cruz.
George Cruz. Is he injured or not picked? I'm not sure. But yeah, Laws and Cruz not involved. Joe Launchbury with Maro Toje, they're going to be the two key locks down in South Africa. Why would you play him in this game? You know, he played last weekend. Give him the week off. Surely that, like, to me, that makes no sense, that selection.
I'm inclined to agree. I mean, they may not play him. He is just in the squad.
Elliot Daly is another one. You know, played last week for Wasps. Why play him? But I like the fixture for the players that don't quite make it. I mean, a great example here. You talked about this a lot. You really wanted to see Marcus Smith in an England shirt at senior level. You know, the fact that he's doing it for Quins successfully. Why assume he's not ready to step up? This is an opportunity to see him in an England shirt. It's not full cap, I don't think. Babbas aren't, are they?
It's not. Yeah, no. It's an uncapped game.
But that's not the point. You know, the fact is he would be playing with, and looking at the squad, you know, he'd be playing with some very senior guys. So it's a great opportunity to see how he performs in that environment. He is, as far as I'm aware, he is currently selected for the under-21s for their tour to wherever they're going.
So I thought he wasn't selected.
When I last checked, he was he was in there along with Ben Curry. She's going to, I'm sure, make Tom Curry feel particularly good.
Yeah, this whole thing is messing with me because I know Eddie said that Marcus Smith needs the summer off, so he's not going on the under-20s or the England tour.
Well, don't know what to tell you, mate.
It is what it is. It's weird, but
it's what I've read. So I mean, it brings us on to another interesting point, and that's that Danny Cipriani has been selected in this Babbas squad, for England as a fullback. And we were convinced that he would be going on tour, and I still am, as a replacement / starting 10. Is it possible that he's going in at fullback because Eddie wants to see him, and because Marcus Smith is involved alongside George Ford in this game? He's thinking, okay, well, I'm thinking Cipriani for 10, but I'm okay. I'm happy to see him at 15. Against the Babbas. Maybe let me know if he's someone who can play both. Can be a bit flexible out in South Africa.
So this is probably not sort of going to be in line with your way of thinking. So to start with, as a fullback, I was just like, what's the point? It seems pointless. But the more I think about it, he's such a good 10 and he's had such a good season at Wasps because of the way Wasps play, because how attacking they are, the players they have. The reality is England don't actually play like that. So will he be able to play the same sort of role at 10? England are a lot more reserved, a lot more sort of structured, not quite as play it as you see it. So maybe actually at fullback, maybe that may give him a bit more freedom.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I really hope we see him against the Babbas. I don't see the need to select Mike Brown against the Babbas. I think we've all seen what he's capable of. So I think if you're going to do it, then stick him, start him. And I know this is going against what I just said about resting players that played last weekend, but and obviously he was involved in that too. But why not stick him out there and see what happens? Eddie Jones has been pretty vocal about over the years about how he didn't think Danny Cipriani was the right guy for him. He's forced his way in on form, fair play. So I think give him a shot. And if you are thinking fullback, then don't fuck about with, but he's my backup to Mike Brown, because let's be honest, fullback or fly half, you're picking him over Mike Brown.
Well, if I'm picking the fullback for this match, I'm putting Jason Woodward there.
Yeah.
I thought he's had a great season. I'd like to see Cipriani at 10. Certainly in South Africa, I would.
Well, this is my point. We're clearly not going to see him at 10 against the Babbas. Because
you've
got George Ford, who's got a lot to prove. You've got Marcus Smith, who's involved, even though apparently he's not going to be selected. You're not taking 3 number 10s. You're not including 3 number 10s against the Babbas.
No.
So unless he just leaves Danny Cipriani out and does rest him, which again wouldn't be the end of the world, given that he was playing last weekend in the semis. It'll be, I don't know, it's a hard one to call. Henry Trinder, obviously you mentioned before, it'd be good to see him.
I'd love to see him play, yeah.
Yeah, because he is not currently selected to go to South Africa, is he? He's just part of this training squad.
Yeah, he's not in the England squad, and I don't think he's. I mean, obviously he's fairly close because he's in this Babbas squad, but I think it would take a fair few injuries for him to actually get in the England squad.
Here's a question for you then: injuries aside, and assuming there are none, which is probably slightly wishful thinking, are spots available? Are they open? Are these players playing for a place on this tour? The ones who aren't already going?
No, I don't think so.
No?
They've named their touring squad, haven't they? And they're not going to add to that.
Fine. So a Trinder, someone like a Henry Trinder comes in and has the game of his life and is just unbelievable. You're not creating a gap for him, a space for him.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they will. And also, you've got to remember a Babbas match is different to any other match. So it is, if they have a game of their life, it's hard to tell.
Does that go against everything that Eddie Jones has kind of said, though, about to English players about their ability to play for England? Anyone can get into this side. It's about putting in the performance. There's no kind of old boys club. It's form will dictate, which we know isn't true because Don Armand isn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, does that make it a bit of a? Does it make it a bit of a joke fixture?
Well, that's what I meant. That's what I was saying when I said I'm not sure, because it's not a cap fixture. So if this is the only time Henry Trinder puts on an England shirt, he officially won't be capped.
Yeah, but that's why it feels to me like it should be. Eddie Jones should be saying to these guys, look, yes, I've named my touring squad, but there are opportunities. There's always opportunities, and this is the final one before we go. So, if you've got something you want to prove, this is your last chance to do it. I don't know. It feels to me like it would be wrong to sort of almost say, touring squad's decided, go and enjoy yourselves. Like, what's the incentive for these guys? Like, that sounds silly. I know that the incentive should always be, play your best because you want to get into the England team further down the road. But it's like, even if you go out and have a stormer, if you're not involved, then they've got 3 test matches down in South Africa before you potentially get another chance to even train with them. So I feel like the door needs to be slightly ajar here.
So I think the reality is I don't believe the door is ajar. I think they've named their squad unless there's injuries, that squad's staying the same. It's not been added to. It's not been lessened. I think the motivation for these guys is Eddie Jones they'll actually get to show Eddie Jones during the week what they're capable of.
Yeah.
They'll get to show whether they can adapt, but I don't think that changes the thing with South Africa, to be honest.
Well, we shall see. We shall see.
Yes.
Well,
speaking of South Africa.
Yeah.
Oh,
no. Okay,
Is Paul Gustard going on the tour? I'm guessing not.
I don't know, actually. No, probably not. Well, I don't think there wouldn't be much point, would there?
Well, other than to have a defence coach just to get through the tour.
Does the defence coach offer much on match day? Like, I know they'll obviously be training while they're out there, but do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
It's a tough one. I don't think he will be because he's taken a job. I suspect he'll be everything Quinn's now. But so, firstly, from a perspective, well done. Like, I kind of get why he did it. Yes, England will go on to win the World Cup, and he may miss out on that. But he's kind of earned his right to be a director of rugby or whatever you want to call it, and he had to take it, really, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Do you know what? While you're speaking, I'm thinking. I think he will go on tour. I don't think you make a change like this and then leave them in the lurch in a situation like this. I think if, assuming that it's all amicable,
which it is by all accounts,
and unless the replacement has already been agreed, and obviously we're aware that Sean Edwards is one of the names that's been put in the hat. And I think what's interesting, lots of people saying, "Oh, he'll never leave Wales" or whatever, but he interviewed for the Quinn's job as well, so he's clearly open to leaving Wales. Now, obviously, there's a big difference between not getting a top job, a senior job, and taking a sort of a more junior one. But surely it's, even doing the same job for England is a step up from doing it for Wales. I know that sounds like I'm being disrespectful to Wales, but it is, isn't it? With the money and the player.
Yeah. No.
I think.
So I have a question to you.
Mm.
Who was England's defence coach when we beat New Zealand last time?
When we last beat New Zealand?
Which was like 2012 or something. Do you remember?
Farrell?
Yeah. Who was Ireland's defence coach when they beat New Zealand?
Andy Farrell.
Who was the Lions defence coach when they beat New Zealand?
Andy Farrell. Should we get him back?
Are we going to? Can we look at him? I know sort of Eddie half got rid of him, but the guy obviously might know a thing or two about defence.
I mean, he seems to know a little bit, doesn't he? Would he do it?
Yeah.
Would he come back? Do you think?
I have no idea. I maybe not. And maybe they do need that change. So Sean Edwards is clearly an amazing defence coach. There is a part of me where it doesn't sit right though, just because I'm like, oh, you're with Wales, screw you. But that's just ridiculous. That's just he's doing the job.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose that would be like saying, anti-Eddie Jones, but because of that time, you remember when he was with, Australia or South Africa, or I think, yeah,
exactly.
I think you'd accept it, and he is English after all.
Yeah. Well, if he's human, I suspect he's English, but it would be Sean Edwards. I think would be great value. So to me, I would like to see Edwards and Farrell in for that job. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what sort of a reaction Farrell, or what sort of, what his reaction would be to being. I don't know if he'd be asked. I don't know if he would be asked.
Well, don't forget Eddie got rid of him.
That's what I mean. So I'm not sure he would go back and ask him to come back. Obviously, we don't know the details. It may be that Eddie just said, "Look, I need to change things up. It's a new setup. It's nothing personal." Because he didn't initially get rid of them, did he? When he first came on board, he kept them around briefly, and then he got rid of them.
I think it was very much sort of a gesture, as in to say, "I will give you the chance, but there's no way you're staying. I'm building my own team."
Yeah, so I guess it's just how that conversation went, and whether it was amicable and everyone kind of agreed, no, fair play. You're coming in fresh and you want a fresh start, or whether it was because if he said, you've got a chance, and then didn't select them, then he basically just said, yeah, you're not good enough for what I want. I can't imagine anything changing. And also, what's his contract look like at Ireland?
I have no idea. I mean, money-wise, England can almost definitely pay more, but I suspect he's on a fairly lucrative contract.
Well, I meant
and
more,
does he want to leave Ireland?
I was going to say, I meant more like, trying to pull him away from Ireland, a year out from the World Cup.
With a team that is starting to look really quite useful.
Yeah, I think he would be hard pressed to leave them at this sort of stage. And I know that Gustard's just done it, but it's not like he did it to go and do the same job somewhere else. Like if he'd done that, if he'd gone to Ireland to do it or something, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that would piss you off.
So I'm not sure he would do it. And also, is it good for Owen?
They seem to work all right, don't they?
I mean, they did, but Owen Farrell's only got better. Now, obviously, you'd argue that would have happened anyway. But is he under additional pressure? There was all those issues in the World Cup when it was, Farrell or Ford, and everyone started to think that Andy Farrell was putting too much pressure on Stuart Lancaster, and I know that's in the past, and it's these days we wouldn't have that same issue because we know that Owen Farrell is obviously such a key part of the England side. But I don't know whether it would potentially just be make life more difficult for Owen Farrell, and we want to make it as easy as possible for him.
Yeah, we do. I think it's a moot point, like you say. I can't see Eddie going back there, but should we now be worried that just over a year out from a World Cup we have no defence or attack coach?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, attack coach, he's brought someone in for the tour, hasn't he? He's got the guy that he was...
The Aussie guy, yeah.
Yeah, the one who he was with Australia and Japan with, I think.
Okay.
So he I don't know anything about him other than that.
No, I don't.
But yeah, he's I think is in for the tour as, I guess, some sort of a trial. I guess if it goes well. What I hope is that we don't keep bringing people in for little short stints. I hope
that's the thing. Eddie's done that quite a bit, hasn't he, with someone like Georgie Gregan, with Johnny Wilkinson. So, yeah, I'm with you. I hope this potentially could, assuming all goes well, I hope this could lead to a sort of longer term thing. But I have no idea what the sort of contract will. I have no idea what the agreement is. I have no idea whether it's just this is it, then you were done, or whether it's like, hey, look, let's see how this goes, and then we can sort of take it from there.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to see because we definitely need a little bit more. We need to get this sorted ASAP, don't we? We can't have this hanging over the England side beyond this tour. Like it needs to be put to bed. And if it means making changes, I don't think the problem is making a change. If Gustard goes and Sean Edwards comes in, I think it's okay. I don't think that derails England in any way. If anything, it might be a positive because they're not going to suddenly forget everything that Gustard told them. Someone else coming in adds a little bit more to that. Maybe there's a positive in that. But they need to get something sorted as soon as possible. We can't be, still having this conversation in the autumn, before we play New Zealand. And then before we know it, it's the Six Nations, and we're thinking, shit, it's less than 12 months till the World Cup, and we're still not quite sure because we've had this guy for 3 months, and then someone else came in for a couple of months to do a little stint, and that becomes the problem then. So I think, the RFU have got the cash. They need to some decisions need to be made, and they need to just make sure they get through the World Cup. I think they will. I think it'll all kind of be announced fairly soon, particularly if the Gustard leaving thing has been amicable, as you say. That he will. And this is why I think maybe he will go on tour, because I think he's going to have gone and said, look, I know that this is 18 months out from a World Cup, but it's such a huge opportunity. I can't say no, but I'm not going to literally dump you and leave you in the lurch. So, I'll stay until post South Africa. And actually that would work because, yes, he's going to have to be thinking about Quins, but there isn't going to be any work to do with Quins really until after the summer, is there? Or, till after the tour.
Well, actually, that's a good point because when will pre-season start? Probably just after the tour.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll go. I don't think he'll go, mate. I think he'll now have to get his Quinn's head on because they'll need
do you
to
not
do
think
some
that would have been
recruitment.
part of the deal? Like, I can't suddenly leave at such a crucial time. Like, there needs to be a, if he'd announced it at the end of the Six Nations, you'd say fair enough. There's time, but because the announcements come so recently, do you not think that it's, that surely you got a notice period at least of a couple of months?
Oh, so yes, I don't think it's about him like refusal or
No,
lack of agreement.
But do you not think he would have said to Quinns, look, my notice period is whatever it is, 2-3 months, and therefore, I will go on this tour.
So the thing I'm thinking is not really about them. I'm wondering whether Eddie would want him, and not in a bad way, just in a, hey, look, he's gone, good for him. We need to move on from it.
Yeah, maybe. But I guess it just depends whether you've got someone else.
Yeah, and that's something actually that we need to think about because it's all very well bringing in a new defence coach, but if a new coach defends completely different to how England are now, realistically, they don't have time.
No.
To put in a completely new system.
So all the more reason to stick with the same guy for the tour. Focus on new stuff when they get back with however many months it is until the autumn.
Yeah, possibly. Mate, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll watch this space because surely an announcement will need to be made fairly soon as to what's going on. Presumably the tour leaves after the Babbas game sometime that following week, do they? I would think. They get out there. There's a week. There's then one weekend, isn't there? And then the tests start. So they'll have 2 weeks following the Babbas game, just under 2 weeks following the Babbas game until the first test. Get out there a week before.
Yeah, so I think they'll literally fly on Monday.
Do you think? Get out the good.
I think so.
12 days or something to just. I guess also you've got the altitude out there.
Oh, so Gustard is going to South Africa.
He is.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we are. We just discussed that for 20 minutes.
20 minutes and
one quick look, and there it is.
On that note, Daniel, I think we should call time on this episode. Obviously, big games this weekend, Premiership final and the Babbas game on Sunday. So, guys, make sure you watch that. I will do my very best to watch it. I am in a country that claims to be fans of rugby. Whether or not that includes England against the Babbas, we shall find out.
I'm not sure they've got TVs over there yet.
It's France, mate. It's France.
Oh, okay. They definitely don't.
Okay. But yeah, we'll obviously, we would love to have covered that as a live episode. Not going to happen. But we will cover what happened in that game and the final on Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Not next week, no, the week after. So we're going to have a week off, and then obviously 10 days or so after that is when all of the tour matches will start, and those we will bring to you as live-ish coverage updates like we've done in the past. So yeah, plenty to come.
There's some good rugby coming up in the next few weeks.
I'm looking forward to it, and England have an awful lot to prove. I believe they can do it, but it's kind of necessary now. They need to sort of put down a bit of a mantle and just say, look, we had a shocker of Six Nations, but that doesn't change the fact that we're a quality side, and we're here. We still aim to be the number one team in the world, and we aim to win the World Cup, and bring on New Zealand in the autumn to hopefully set a bit of a benchmark.
Mate, there's a lot going on over. It's going to be a good few weeks. You've got your holiday to chill out, relax, and when you're back, mate, I just want everything rugby. Basically, quit your job and just everything rugby.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for listening. As always, rate us, review us. We're on iTunes, we're on Acast, we're on Spotify. You can get in touch with us on Twitter at England Rugby Pod. We're also on Facebook and I think we're on various other things, but we don't tend to update them. But yeah, Facebook and Twitter is the way to go. You can email us englandrugbypod@gmail.com, and there is a website, www.englandrugbypod.com, so check that out. And join us in about 10 days once I'm back from my holidays, and we will bring you all the latest. Thanks for listening, guys.
Cheers, guys.